Today we're reacting to 10 of the most dramatic moments in court. First off, we have a man named Christopher McNab. Let's hear his story.
This is Christopher McNab, who is facing charges for the murder of his 2-week-old child in Covington, Georgia. After the child's mother reported the baby
2 weeks
missing
old,
to
man.
police, local law enforcement immediately launched a search. Later that night, McNab is seen in front of TV cameras begging for his child back.
I want my kid back, man. That's my child, man. I want my kid, man.
The next day, the child's body was found in a nearby wooded area. The cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head, which was later ruled a homicide. McNab was arrested and charged with the murder of his own 2-week-old baby. After he was found guilty, we now move on to the sentencing. His innocence.
I'm innocent. I didn't do it. I've maintained that the whole time. I would never do this. That's all I gotta say. I would never do it. I'm innocent.
And now the judge.
What I don't get is why he's not like losing his mind. Like if I lost my 2-week-old kid, I would probably, be crying or something. I wouldn't like, just seems a little fishy.
Lets McNab unknowingly choose his own sentence.
You claim you're innocent, so you tell me what sentence the man or woman that you claim should receive.
If you ever find out who did them, they deserve to be under the jail.
Okay, so they ought to get the maximum sentence.
Most definitely.
Okay, on the
Yo, bro just got the maximum sentence on himself.
crime of malice murder, I sentence you to life in confinement without parole.
He just realized.
After McNab was handed down the max
He just
sentence,
realized.
he was moved to Hayes State Prison in Tryon, Georgia, where he is serving his life sentence.
Dude, imagine serving life in prison. Like, once you enter those cells, you're never going to be able to live a normal life. That's crazy. Next up, we got a guy named Franklin Williams. Let's hear his story.
This is Franklin Williams, who is convicted of multiple felonies, including armed robberies and fleeing police in Cleveland, Ohio.
Again, I'm going to interrupt. Mr. Williams, listen to me. I'm going to gag you in 1 second.
Williams conducted 3 armed robberies before leading police on a high-speed chase. He was later arrested and convicted. Now, at his sentencing, Williams would not stop.
Bro's kind of built.
Despite more than a dozen warnings from the judge.
That means zip it right now. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't. That's a violation of the HIPAA law, Judge.
Here we go.
This resulted in the judge ordering Williams' mouth to be taped shut.
If you spit on, attempt to bite, or injure any of my deputies, you're going to have a bad day.
That's what it is.
At a following court appearance, Williams has something to share with the judge and cameras.
Freedom of speech, no duct tape with the hashtag.
Aside from all the interruptions, the judge can hand down Williams' sentence.
You faced a potential maximum consecutive sentence of 134 years. I ordered a 24-year sentence.
After Williams...
But 24 years is like still a long time. Like, imagine what has happened in the last 24 years of our lives. iPhones have came out. Pretty sure Teslas have came out. So many new things in 24 years. Bro's gonna get out of jail and be like,
received a 24-year prison sentence. The judge later apologized for the duct tape and threw out that sentence. He then appointed a new judge, where she sentenced him to 33 years behind bars.
bro, why would he do that? Why did he appoint a new judge? Next person is a girl, Camia Gamet. Let's see her story.
Is charged with the murder of her boyfriend in Jackson, Mississippi. Reportedly, the attack happened during an argument between the two individuals and ended with the boyfriend being violently stabbed to death. Gamet was arrested on first-degree murder charges. In court, Gamet would claim her murder was in self-defense and her boyfriend was attacking her. But in the end, she was found guilty of murder.
The way I was portrayed, mostly everything was lies. There was a little bit of truth, but mostly I was convicted off of lies.
We now move into the sentencing, where Gamet reportedly kept interrupting the judge.
You're gonna shut your mouth or I'm gonna have some duct tape put on it.
With Gamet showing no
why
remorse,
do they always have duct tape ready to shut their mouths? I mean, okay, that's a stupid question. Never mind.
Judge had some final words.
You stab, you stab, you stab, you stab until he was dead. I agree with the family. I hope you die in prison as well. You know, if this was a death
Yo, that's kind of harsh, dude.
penalty state, you'd be getting the chair.
In the end, Gamet was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I mean, she did unalive her boyfriend, so. Another woman on the list, Kimberly Kessar. Let's check her out.
Was charged with the murder of her coworker in Nassau County, Florida.
Jordan Beard is Jolene Cummings' cousin.
Kessar was working at a Tangle's hair
so many
salon under a
murders?
fake name. She reportedly was on the run for 25 years and wanted in several states. She wouldn't be found until she brutally murdered her coworker with scissors and allegedly
With scissors? That is... with scissors, dude?
disposed of her body. This is Kessar after she was arrested and awaiting trial.
Are we on mute anyway, so I can say whatever the I want?
We're not on mute.
Oh, okay.
And this is what it was like to supervise her in jail.
We began to remove feces from styrofoam trays in the back of her cell and smear it on herself on the walls. She began to throw feces at Smith, Miller, and I.
Now in the trial, she had to go to a separate room due to her outbursts.
I refuse it. I have refused it. I refuse the public defender's office. They appointed Jolene Cummings' cousin as my public defender. What, you don't want the public to know that?
And she continuously made false claims about her former public defender.
Jordan Beard is Jolene Cummings' cousin. Jordan Beard is Jolene's cousin.
Jordan Beard is Jolene's cousin. I'm guessing her attorney or whatever is cousins with the guy she killed. So maybe obviously the attorney is gonna. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense what's going on.
Later found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Bro, she killed her. She killed him with scissors. Next, we got Candice Cook. These stories are getting crazy.
Found guilty of carjacking charges in Volusia County, Florida. 18-year-old Cook and her 17-year-old boyfriend had used a dating app to set up a carjacking, where the boyfriend reportedly shot the victim, leaving him seriously injured. After fleeing the scene and
why
being
would you
on the
even do
run,
that?
The pair attempted another carjacking just 2 days later, but they were arrested. Now in court, Cook stands in front of the judge for her involvement in the theft and shooting.
You guilty of all 3 charges, sentence you to 20 years in state prison.
Wow.
That is Cook's mother that can be heard crying.
That means she'll be 38 when she gets out, dude. 38 years old. I'm 18 years old. So it's like I'm getting sentenced to 20 years. Bro. No, I don't know how I would act.
Reportedly, the reason for this very emotional outburst is there was a miscommunication with the assistant public defender, where Cook and her mother thought she wouldn't face any prison time.
Whoa. She thought she wouldn't face anything, and she got 20 years. I mean,
Cook's sentence was later reduced to 11 years in prison.
I mean, you unalived someone. Like, why would you do that? What was the point? Next up, we got Jacob Morgan. Let's hear his story.
This is Jacob Morgan, who at 17 years old was found guilty of setting a house fire that killed a family member in Rock Hills, South Carolina. Morgan was left alone to look after his 14-month-old stepbrother, and reportedly, prosecutors said Morgan intentionally set the fire that killed his family member. In court, Morgan is at a probable cause hearing. Listen as the judge speaks.
So therefore, I am going
I've seen this guy before on TikTok. He gets like 100 years.
to find that there is probable cause to charge the individual for general sessions court for late charges.
Morgan settled for a plea deal where he pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and unlawful neglect of a child. However, he stated he loved his brother and he always maintained his innocence.
I love my brother. I still do to this very day. He's my best friend. To kill him would be killing the pieces myself. And I just wish I could have gotten to him in time.
Morgan was sentenced to 15 years in prison, but after serving only 7 years, he reportedly was released.
Next, we got a man named Ignasio Rodriguez.
who is the suspect in the death of his 4-month-old son in San Antonio, Texas.
Wow.
Reportedly, the child suffered a fractured skull and severe bleeding to the brain. Rodriguez
What did
was
he-
the lead suspect.
What did he
and was
hit him?
taken into custody. Now in court, Rodriguez stands in front of the judge where he is now facing a capital murder charge. But reportedly, he instead pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of intentional or knowing injury to a child causing serious bodily injury.
Mr. Rodriguez, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty? Or
Guilty.
no contest?
Guilty. The judge
Guilty.
hands down his sentence.
It is the order of the court that you be sentenced to 50 years confinement.
But this is the moment that the baby's mother confronts Rodriguez.
Oh, what is she gonna say?
Anything what you did to her son, and for that I can never see myself forgiving you. You were supposed to be our protector, not the one to break our hearts.
When the mother starts
See, why would he even do that? Like, what gain do you get out of doing that?
talking about her other child, Rodriguez insists that she tells the truth.
As she gets older, she will start asking questions.
Then tell her the truth. Tell her the truth. Tell her the truth. Tell her how everything was supposed to be. Tell her the whole truth. Don't lie to her. Tell her the whole truth. Tell her the whole truth.
What truth?
The whole truth.
Court officials quickly remove Rodriguez out of the courtroom.
Tell her the whole truth, Angela. The whole truth.
He is currently serving his 50-year prison sentence.
50 years, bro. Next, we got Damon Kemp.
He is charged with the double murder of his roommates in Daytona Beach, Florida. Police were called
Is this
to
guy
investigate
good?
a burglary at an apartment complex, and it was here Kemp allegedly confessed to the murders. He was originally staying with his two roommates when both individuals were shot several times in the apartment. During Kemp's bond hearing, he's now escorted into court in a wheelchair. The judge tries to get Kemp's attention, but he's completely ignored.
Mr. Kemp? God! Damon Kemp, I'm going to conduct your first appearance.
What is going on here?
For the victim's family, it got so tough they had to walk out. Kemp is currently in the Volusia County Jail awaiting his trial. This is Erica Butts and Shenita Cunningham. They were both
Erica Butts and Shenita Cunningham.
Charged with homicide by child abuse in Summerville, South Carolina. Butts, who was best friends with the child's mother, was supposed to be caring for the toddler for 2 weeks. The child was only 3 years old. She died from her injuries, reflecting weeks of torture. A time frame that matched the time she had spent with Butts and her lover at the time, Cunningham.
What must have been the excruciating sounds that came from that child is more than disconcerting to this court.
After both women were found guilty, the judge now hands down their sentence.
The court finds it appropriate
34 years. 34 or 27 years, I'm guessing.
that each be sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of life.
They were just sentenced to life in prison.
Yo. She can't even breathe.
Butts and Cunningham are reportedly at separate prisons serving their life sentences. This is Anthony Kirkland, who is a convicted serial killer in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cincinnati, Ohio. Shout out to you.
They say I am evil and a monster. They're right. Even my mom hated me, but I don't blame her.
Kirkland had previously served a 16-year prison sentence.
Poor guy. That part. Besides all the other things he did, him saying even my mom hated me, it's kind of sad.
For the killing of his ex-girlfriend. A few years
Oh.
after his release, Kirkland begun his killing spree. Over a 3-year period, he killed 4 women, 2 of them being teenagers. Kirkland was arrested after his 4th murder, as he was caught with one of the victim's watch and iPod, which made him a lead suspect. Eventually, police were able to pin all the murders to Kirkland. Now in court, as the charges are being read out, Kirkland is facing the death penalty, and next, he appears to faint.
Count 4, aggravated murder.
Kirkland was later found guilty on all charges and sentenced to death. He is
Oh,
currently
wow.
on death row awaiting his execution at the Chillicothe Correctional Facility.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Always remember, Yeshua is king. They don't know me, Drop a banger for my homies, yeah, 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 yeah. Hold these while I cook up in my chonies, yeah, 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 yeah. Drop a subscribe, maybe a like, yeah. Hope you don't mind, oh, hope you don't mind. For my homie, yeah, yeah. Cause it's for my homies.